Good morning. Good morning. Namaste. Final day of the 9-day journey through the 9 pillars of the Awakening Shakti process, the program, my teachings around the awakening and embodiment of the Divine Feminine. A little bit late again today, my apologies. It seems like everything kind of went chaotic this morning. I was teaching a private Shakti yoga class and somebody kept trying to FaceTime me while I was teaching, and then I lost the connection, and then I don't know, it's just been chaotic this morning. So I am surrendering to the chaos, going with the flow, and just playing for a few moments some beautiful music by Kamari and Manveer. This is from their album Shakti's Grace, and this track is called Kundalini Awakening. Kamari and Manveer are friends of mine. They're incredible musicians, very, very dedicated yogis and practitioners. Who I know from my time as a teacher of Kundalini yoga and meditation. And I love their music. And what's also really amazing is that they have kind of given permission for us to use their music without any copyright issues, which is why I'm playing it here on Facebook, because you can't normally do that. But I'm playing this song for a reason, Kundalini Awakening, which connects directly in with our theme for this final pillar of Divine Union. Kundalini Awakening, Divine Union, they are directly connected. So I'm just going to quieten the music down now as I begin to talk. Although I love that song, I love it. So yes, Divine Union. The final theme, the culmination, the coming together of everything. And just looking at this statue, it's so beautiful. And of course, I guess most of you will recognize what this is and what it's about. So this I have on my altar in my bedroom, the iconic representation, the image of Shiva, the divine masculine, and his consort Shakti in divine union, in sacred sexual union, making love, entwined. He is the pillar of consciousness, of truth, of light, of awareness, and she is the energy of creation, the energy of love, energy of sexuality in its purest sense, who moves, who dances, who feels on him. So he just holds that place of pure presence and she dances on him. She's the one who's active, she's the one who's moving, she's the one who's creating. And this is the representation of the great making love and the great divine. I'm looking out because I'm looking out to the world, but actually, you know, it's here and there. It's everywhere. This is the Tantra yoga representation of existence, life, the world, cosmic creation, the ongoing expansion of consciousness. And all that keeps being created again and again and again and again. I have these images everywhere in my home. So I have this image, Radha and Krishna. I have this image, the kiss, Klimt and many more. I have them all over my home. And it's interesting because, of course, we can look at these images in different ways. I fell in love with this image as a teenage girl. I love Gustav Klimt, and I love this kind of impressionistic art. So when I first saw this picture, you know, literally as a teenager, a long time ago, I loved it because it stirred my heart. It spoke to my heart, and it spoke to the romantic in me, that longing within me for love, for merger in love with another, that stirring that's kind of always been there within me, to merge, to be one. And yeah, the romantic notion of being loved so completely and being so immersed in that, which for a long time, as I've kind of spoken to in some of these other videos that I've made, for me, of course, as a child, as a teenager, I didn't know what divine union was. Although I would like to suggest that all of us know what divine union is when we come into the world, because we live it, we embody it fully. As children, as babies are living in divine union. They're at one with consciousness. They're at one with God. They're at one with their divinity. There's no separation. And then as self-consciousness is introduced and the conditioning is put on to the body, the separation begins, right? But anyway, I had no idea what divine union was, either in that sense, as I speak of it as being one with your God self, your true God nature, or in the sense of a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual union with another human being. So in either of those senses, I had no idea of that. But of course, all babies, all children are born in divine union. And we are always that. It's just that we forget, and we're conditioned to forget. So my particular journey, which again I've spoken to a fair bit in terms of my wounding from my parents, from my father, was about searching for love and validation on the external and seeking the love that I didn't realize I was and I am through sex and through relationships or loverships with men. When I then came into finally the world of Tantra and yoga, so more recently, so 14, 12 years ago, I guess. I kind of get lost with dates when I'm talking, so forgive me, I can't be completely accurate because I can't actually think when I'm talking. There's no thought that's happening. So when I then discovered Tantra and Kundalini Yoga and began to see these images everywhere, you know, it spoke to me again of that longing, that yearning for deep divine union, and it spoke to a part of my soul that knows that is what I'm here for. So there was that deep soul knowing and deep soul longing. At the same time, it was overlaid with the romantic notion that I was here to meet the perfect man, to complement me and to be my beloved for the rest of my life. And that too, very, very strong, romantic longing and yearning and desire. So that too. And also the desire to experience that union in sex with a man, you know, in the physical, in the flesh and blood reality, not just as an energetic internal experience. So in my journey then of exploration, as I went more and more into the fields of Tantra and Kundalini Yoga, which are both about the sexual and spiritual awakening, so as the twin energies of the masculine and feminine poles, polarities, the Ida and the Pingala, the two channels that flow either side of your central channel, your Sushumna, as they rise, these energies, and meet in the center of the head at the pineal gland and open the third eye, so we come into oneness consciousness, unity consciousness. That is the ultimate divine union. So that is what the practice of Kundalini Yoga or other forms of yoga, of Tantra, are actually about, is the opening of our consciousness into unity consciousness through the inner unification of our masculine and feminine poles, right? That's the ultimate, that's what this actually signifies. And we can experience that spontaneously. We can experience that in deep meditation. We can experience that in breath work. We can experience that in energy practices with ourselves. We can experience that in energy practices with another. We can experience that sometimes in lovemaking with another. That's pretty rare. But all of these are possibles. But the ultimate signification that I've come to recognize of divine union is always going to be me and God, God and me are one. So the recognition, the realization of my true God nature, that's the divine union. So after years of looking for completion in other people, life through much pain and suffering, and the sort of basically looking outside, getting attached, falling in love, projecting the illusion of divine union onto the other, projecting the illusion of twin flames onto the other, and then experiencing the pain and the suffering of betrayal, of abandonment, of rejection, seeing the illusion fall away, the abject despair of the heartache finally forced me to realize that I was continuously projecting that illusion out rather than finding it here. And the only way that I'm going to be able to experience this true divine union, sacred sexual union with another human being, is if we are both already this unified inside. Because otherwise, we're going to be projecting our wounds and our traumas onto one another. We're going to be looking for what we didn't get from our parents in the other. And when they can't and don't provide it, we're going to blame them and hate them. And that's what happens in most relationships. It's an unconscious seeking, healing and completion through the other. That's why we're inevitably attracted to those who trigger us. Yes, there will be the honeymoon period, and then when it gets real, once we've gone through that, the shadows arise and it becomes harder to love them for a while, because suddenly we're seeing all our own shadows reflected back to us. And unless we're able to be aware of that and make it conscious and understand that this person is the perfect person to trigger us so that we become whole and integrated, we're going to blame them for how we feel. And we're going to blame them for what's happening. And we're going to fall very quickly out of love. Right? And so this is where that whole phrase, falling in love, is kind of an indicator of what actually happens if we go into love unconsciously and in that frame of mind, in that state, as opposed to understanding that we are fully responsible for everything that happens in us, to us, in our lives, that we are fully responsible, and that everything is a reflection, and that everything is there to support our growth and our healing and our return to wholeness. If we begin to see relationship and lovemaking as that, you know, as the path to wholeness, it changes our entire perspective and experience of what is going on. So then every time we get triggered, excuse me, every time something hurts, every time we're rejected, abandoned or betrayed, yes, we feel it and it doesn't feel good. And we can then say, thank you. Thank you for showing me where the healing was still needed within me. Thank you for reminding me that I'm still carrying this wound. thank you for reminding me that I'm still projecting my father or my mother onto you and I'm not seeing you clearly. Thank you for showing me this. Now I've grown, I've expanded, I'm a little bit more aware of who I really am. I'm getting closer to my God self, my true self. And from that true self place, I can love unconditionally. I can see who you are clearly. And I have no expectations of you. How could I? You are just God being yourself in a human being. But I can also choose to say yes or to say no. I can choose to come or to go. I can choose to walk away at any point because I don't need you. We're here to grow up together. We're here to grow in love together. We're here to evolve together. We're here to recognize ourselves as God within and without together. Right? This is the ultimate, I was going to say end point, but there is no end point. But this is the ultimate expression of awakening, of awakened consciousness in man and woman. When we can truly embody and live as this, it's a life's work as far as I'm concerned. Because even people that I know, teachers, gurus in inverted commas, don't like that phrase really, who have had spontaneous Kundalini awakenings or Kundalini awakening experiences many years ago, all those that I see, that I know, they still have shadows, they still have wounds, they still have their humanness. There's no one walking this earth who is immaculate in the sense of not also living from the shadows at times. I don't see that in anyone. Everyone has that. We all have the human face. So let's acknowledge that. Let's recognize that. Let's be real and be humble and see this path of awakening and this path of inner union, of divine union, as an ever ongoing, infinite process of expansion and realization and recognition and deeper healing and deeper clearing, cleansing of all the masks, of all the veils, of all the programming, of all the conditioning bullshit. And be compassionate with ourselves about all of it. Deeply compassionate rather than judging, comparing, or thinking that we are on a stairway. Oh, here comes a song title, The Stairway to Heaven. And thinking that, oh, I'm here and she's there, so I'm better, right? Or I'm here and she's there, so I'm not as good. Let's get rid of all of that nonsense, okay? This hierarchy. Let's conceive it, if you want to conceive of it at all, as an ongoing, spiraling process of deepening awareness, of greater opening, of ongoing clearing and cleansing, so that the face of the divine begins to shine more clearly through us. I'm wondering, as I'm talking, because I'm just literally, transmitting whatever's coming through to be said, if this is all too conceptual. Maybe you want to have the idea of practices to support this. Well, in a way, everything that we do in the Awakening Shakti course from the very beginning, all of the 9 pillars, they all support this, and all of them I teach through embodied practices. So nothing is just about the intellectual understanding. Everything is about the embodiment. That's where, we can only get to this through the embodiment of it. So starting from the beginning, meditation and stillness, that is a tool for the awakening of your Kundalini sexual energy. Meditation and awareness, deep and ongoing practice of meditation is a big part of that. Because look, meditation, stillness and movement. So we have to cultivate that. The moving through our shadows that we did in the second in the second month through working with archetypes. Yes, to get to that place of being cleared and opened. It's not all about having orgasms and ecstasy. It's about doing the shadow work and cultivating the capacity to be deeply and profoundly honest with ourselves and others about our stuff. The shadow work that we do in the second pillar, the second module, is a really big part of that. Owning ourselves, reintegrating the lost parts, the forgotten parts, the hidden parts, bringing that all back into our awareness with love and compassion. Third month, cycles, stages, and natural rhythms. Through the deeper embodiment of our feminine wisdom and our womanly gifts, our womanly cyclicity, the womb wisdom, the heart wisdom, through that, we connect more deeply with our feminine essence as a spiritual energy, right? Fourth month, self-love. Again, having the capacity to deepen in what that really and truly is. So going beyond although this is a part of it for sure and can be a part of it, the affirmations that you make into the mirror, the forgiving yourself, the integration of your shadow. In that month of self-love, maybe we can go a little bit deeper than that still, although that's all an important part of the cleansing and the clearing, to recognize, really and truly recognize and experience, you have to keep emphasizing this in the body, experiencing what it is to be love, to be the energy of love, to embody love, unconditional, infinite love, which is, from my perspective, a quality of divine feminine energy. To embody that. As a priestess of Rhiannon, as a priestess of love and sacred sexuality, every morning I say my daily prayer to Rhiannon. Beloved Rhiannon, thank you for the love that is in and all around me. May my eyes choose to see beauty. May my ears hear the truth beneath story. May my voice be healing in action. May my heart be the drumbeat of love in this world. May my hands manifest all that is good. May my dance be your energy in motion. May my feet hold boundaries healthy and strong. And may my body open and surrender to your flow in the meeting with presence. Beloved Rhiannon, may my mind be filled with love so that I create a world of love. And so be it. That is my daily prayer. Bringing that energy into my body, into my being, daily, over and over and over and over. And of course, in the energy of love, all is welcome, all is accepted, nothing is hidden, there is no shame, there is no judgment, there is no blame. Love heals, love unifies. So, fourth pillar, fourth month, rising in love with you. Fifth month, sacred body. Have we done that? I'm getting confused now about what I've done and what I've missed out. Yeah, sacred body of woman. That's right. Once again, the world teaches us to split off and separate body and mind, sex and spirit. It teaches us that the holy is the transcendent and the invisible, and that what is matter, what is flesh and blood, is not holy, is shameful, is dirty. And in particular, of course, the feminine bodily fluids, excretions and functions, the church, religion, patriarchy puts so much shame on that. So we disconnect from the realization that our body is holy and sacred, that our sexuality is holy and sacred, that our blood is holy and sacred, that our breast milk is holy and sacred. It's love pouring out of us, that our ejaculate is holy and sacred. All of it, holy and sacred. As above, so below. Right? Sacred body of woman. And to experience this divine union, really, it's a waking up to this recognition. This is God. This is divine. I am that. There is no separation. But we have to really, really, really know it and really, really believe it down to the core of our being, not just say it as words. You know, so there are practices that we do, that we go through to begin to be more deeply connected, sensorially aware, in love with our body, in awe of its power, honoring its gifts, right? Sacred body of woman. The next one, authentic power and sovereignty. Well, the most authentic power comes from our oneness, comes from our living in flow with divinity, comes from our living in flow with life, comes from letting go of the self and living as one with the divine. So as we speak, as we act, as we be, we're being what's true. It's coming through us as a transmission. It's not an acting out or something that's coming from the memory of the past or the mind. Like as I'm speaking to you now, I have no idea what I'm going to say next. I've got no notes. This is just speaking. Authentic power and sovereignty, that is a part of it. Can you imagine as if you are embodying this, which is not about a man out there, this is about you being at one with yourself and God and your inner divine masculine and feminine aspects, your sexual energy awakened, which is not just about sex, right? How could you possibly be disempowered? How could anyone possibly enforce their will upon you? How could you possibly not know what is true? Couldn't exist, right? Awakening sexual energy, the next module, takes us to this. But of course, we have to have done all the other parts, and there are practices that we engage in then daily to cultivate an awareness of our sexual energy, to cultivate a sensitivity to this energy within the body, to open our meridians and our energy channels, to experience the flow of sexual energy up and down the body, or up these twin channels of the masculine and the feminine, right? There are so many practices that we can do. In Tantra, usually the energy flow that we practice is inhaling up to the crown and down from the crown to the root, or breathing up through the twin channels and bringing the energy here to the center of the head. That's how we usually work in practices in Tantra and yoga. In Taoist sacred sexual energy practices, the flow is different. Usually it's up, well it is, not usually, it is up the back, the microcosmic orbit, and over and down the front of the body. So it's a different energy channel that's worked with, but the experience is ultimately the same. So we do this, these are practices of sexual energy movement. And as we engage with these kinds of practices, so everything begins to open more, and then we can also bring those practices when we're in sexual union with a partner to share energy, to exchange, to move and circulate energy within ourselves and between ourselves, right? So this then begins to open us to the experience of sacred sexual union. The final parts, meeting the masculine, I was speaking to yesterday, and that's again another part of this divine union, is healing all the wounds that you have with the men and the masculine in your life. You have to do that as much as you have to do the feminine stuff to experience the divine union, to experience the unification, to experience this love affair within, to experience this passionate love making within, to experience this support of your masculine and feminine aspects, one for the other, rather than some kind of antagonism between the two, or destructiveness between the two, or sabotage, or imbalance, right? It's an ongoing process of balance, unification, dialogue, flow, meeting, healing. And again, let me just speak from direct personal experience of what I'm experiencing at the moment. And please, again, I just ask no attachment to the stories of romance in this, because I'm done with that. I'm here to wake up, and I'm here for the truth. I'm here to heal, to learn, to grow, to be one with God. And what I'm experiencing in my current relating is that this is really supporting me in that, in a way I have never experienced before. And I literally want to bow down in humility and gratitude for it. And the lived experience of it is this: there's a coming together, there's a being in the same space, physically, mentally, intellectually. There's a making love, and then there's a going apart. Both in the being together and the going apart, things move. Both the most beautiful things are brought up for release. Energies come, emotions come, they are released, they are felt fully, and they move through. And then there's something new. And then in the space apart, things get triggered, things get recognized, and both of us name it, process it, take responsibility for it, and at a certain point when we feel ready and able, we share. In that process, together apart, energy moving, shadows rising, triggers happening, there's an ongoing experience of deeper intimacy and healing and growth. So for me, that is what the lived experience right now is of a sacred union or a sacred partnership or a sacred relationship. And I'm not projecting forward, in 6 months, this is what's going to be happening. In 12 months, this is what's going to be happening. Maybe that's all gone, because I've done that so many times, and it is always ended in pain, suffering, disillusion. And I guess the abusive relationship that I was in 4 years ago now, it's so nice to say that and just really feel the distance from it, woke me up to that. I want to just look at some of these comments. I'm going to begin on pillar. I'm so glad what I'm saying is making sense, ladies, and I'm sorry if I'm not responding to your comments in real time. I kind of love speaking in flow, and the flow and the juice really gets going, and I don't like to interrupt that by looking at the comments and also putting my smeary glasses on, but I will respond to your comments afterwards, because I love interacting with you, and I love to know that what I'm saying is helpful or inspiring in some way. So thank you for commenting. I love it. Don't not comment just because I'm not reading them right now. I will respond. So yeah, just talking to my own lived experience, because I always think it's so helpful, because I'm learning so much, I'm growing so much, and I'm so profoundly grateful for it. And it could end in any moment. And I'm aware of that. And it's really beautiful to feel both love, which is there. I feel love, which I would say is the purest love I've ever felt for another, apart from for my children. Oh God, there's some loud noise outside now. Like literally, it's the chaos morning. And there's a level of detachment that I've never felt before. And it's new, and I'm watching it, and I'm aware of it, and I'm like, this is really different to how I've been in relationship before. In every other relationship, I have been so codependent, so deeply attached in what feels like, if I look back at it, was an unhealthy way. And I'm trying to speak a bit louder because there's this loud noise outside. I'm just going to embrace it as part of what's meant to be. But that level of capacity for self-awareness, for honesty, for transparency, for taking full responsibility for everything that's happening, for being able to communicate about it without blame and shame and judgment of the other or self, all of that has come as a result of all of my immersion in all of these practices that I teach in the program. It's not been an overnight thing. I've been doing this work for 18 years, so it's taken a lot of inner work. And even as I say this, I have no idea how it would be for me, you know, if and when something shifts and changes, you know. But I'm not looking forward and I'm not looking back. I'm just here and I'm present. And I can only give thanks for all of the practices and all of the realizations and all of the healing and all of the pain that has brought me to the point of being closer to the ongoing experience of this than I've ever been. And I want to say again and again and again, it is not about needing a man on the external for it. If and when my beloved and I, you know, go our separate ways, I hope, of course I can't predict, but I hope that I will be so immersed in this experience for myself that the letting go will be easier than it ever has been when I've let go. That the processing will be easier than it ever has been, because I am already this. I am already whole. I already have my connection to God. God is my beloved, my ultimate beloved. My inner masculine is there holding me throughout whatever transpires, right? But that doesn't stop me feeling everything fully and deeply without any guard, without any, what's the word I'm looking for? Shield, without any, there's a word I'm looking for and I can't think of it right now. It doesn't stop me feeling and being open fully to life, which means deep emotion, deep energy, deep feeling to everything. And without that openness and feeling, again, this couldn't happen. But it's that deep feeling, that deep sensitivity, that deep opening in presence with now, surrendered to now, giving herself up to what is. It's a willingness to die. It's a willingness to be taken. It's a willingness to be emptied out completely. It's a willingness to surrender 100% to life and to the unknown. So all of that is a part of this unification, this union, inside and outside. I let myself, my small self, my ego self, I let her go and I surrender. And I invite life in. And I pray for life to move through me. There's still a personality, there's still a being, there's still, you know, this, still here. Predilections, likes and dislikes. But my prayer is to be one with God. My prayer is to open myself to that inner unification. So every day, I'm just going to share with you, there's not a sort of a set series of words that I have, but something like this every day is my prayer. You know, beloved Mother, Father, God, let me know myself as one with you. Let me embody myself as one with you. May my inner masculine and my inner feminine dance together in a divine lovemaking in every way and every day. May I embody this truly, wholly, authentically. May I be one. May I know myself as one. May I live, breathe, and embody this in every way, in every day. These kinds of things are my daily prayer. And it's ongoing. And, you know, as you'll know from that written post a few days ago, it doesn't mean that we're always up here in the bliss and the ecstasy. Part of this journey is the spiral, is the waves. The more we experience ourselves, though, in this wholeness, the gentler and easier it becomes to navigate our way through those waves and those highs and those lows, which are a natural part of our growth, which are a natural part of our spiraling evolution. Ongoing, eternal life is always moving forward. Life is always moving. She's always moving forward. She's always creating something new. She's always birthing something new. He's just there. He's just there. Always. Eternal. I think we're done. I think we're done. So join me right now as we complete these 9 days, and as we complete this 9th video of the 9. Just join me for a moment, close your eyes. And just notice everything that's going on within you. Notice all the sensations. Notice the energy. Notice the thoughts. Notice whatever your emotional state and mood is. Notice everything. And just allow it all to be alive within you right now. Let your breath be easy and flowing and full. And as you breathe and be with yourself, with all that is alive within, inside you and outside, noticing the noises, noticing the sounds, noticing what you feel on your skin, just breathe and be with it all. And notice the quiet and notice the calm that is deeper than this. The space between the breaths, the space between the thoughts, the space between the cells. Notice that too. Where there's a pause, where there's a rest, where there's an emptiness. Experiencing yourself as this beautiful, divine dance of movement and stillness. Of energy and consciousness. Of fullness and emptiness. And dropping into the experience of that, knowing yourself as one with all that is. And then just gently inhale and bring your palms together at your heart. Experiencing this as the symbolic physical and energetic unification of self with self, of masculine and feminine, of left and right, of above and below, whole and unified, one. That's why when we say namaste, it's like the divine in me bows to the divine in you. Of course I forget it. Of course you forget it. Of course we all forget it. But just imagine how the world would be if, when we greet others, we are authentically able to say these words and see the truth that the divine in me bows to the divine in you. Everybody. And of course, that's only going to become a reality when we know it for ourselves. And so, I want to thank everyone who's joined me for these 9 days, for this 9-day journey. I've really loved it. Yeah, really loved it. I love talking about what I'm passionate about and sharing, sharing this work, because that's my calling. And I just want to say that the course, the program, starts on the 17th. So I've shifted the date. I think I was saying the 10th originally. We're going to start on the 17th of January. This is a 9-month program. It's deep, it's transformative, it's comprehensive, it's full, and you're going to get my penetrating presence, supporting you, supporting your journey. That's why it's called a depth mentorship. I love going deep. I don't like to dabble at the surface. I like to go deep and really get down to the roots of things. So the shift is real. So the shift is permanent, thorough, we go all the way. That's what I love supporting. And I journey with you. And every year my capacity grows, my wisdom grows, my energy grows. And there is, as I was saying to one of the ladies I spoke to yesterday who's enrolled already, so exciting. There's an energy to the group, and there's an energy to the container in and of itself. So the moment you step in to that container, the energy begins to move you. You're in the river of it. It is going to work its magic. And that is, my holding and what I transmit and teach and channel and guide and support is all a part of that. And what I'm seeing is that there is an intelligence, a divine intelligence that comes and holds all of us in the flow of it. So you enter in at the beginning, and 9 months later you are birthed. You are birthed out, and you will be different. You will be transformed. I think as Chris, one of the ladies who did a course in the first year, she called it metamorphic, which is a really good adjective to use. It's a metamorphosis, or that's the potential. The more you give, the more you receive. It's as simple as that. So if you want to know about the program, you've got time. I can send you the information, the updated dates, the updated pricing, the updated outline of who I'm calling to work with. And I'd love you to join us. There are limited spaces because of my desire to hold the container in a particular way. And yeah, if you want to know more beyond that, you can also book a call with me to chat anything through that you want to ask. And there we go. So thank you. Blessings. See you again very soon, I'm sure. I may make some lives next week about the program. I haven't decided yet, but of course I'll let you know. I'm going with the flow. For now, much love, much gratitude, and namaste.